When I married Claire, I thought we were building a future together, one rooted in love, trust, and mutual respect. For years, we dreamed of raising a family, and even though it hadn't happened yet, we stayed hopeful. But one evening, everything I thought I knew about my wife began to crumble. Claire sat me down at the kitchen table, her hands trembling as she tried to form the words. "Daniel," she whispered, "my sister can't have children. She's asked me to be her surrogate." At first, I laughed, thinking she was joking. But when I saw the seriousness in her eyes, my heart sank. She wasn't asking me what I thought, she was telling me what she had already decided. My chest tightened. This wasn't just about her body, it was about our marriage, our home, our lives. And in that moment, I realized something crucial: if she thought she could make this decision alone, she was forgetting that I had a voice too. I leaned forward, trying to steady my voice. "Claire," I said, "you're my wife. If you think you can make this choice without me, you're wrong. My body, my rules, I won't be treated like I don't matter." Her eyes widened in shock. For the first time, she realized I wasn't going to sit back quietly. Claire's lips parted as if she wanted to argue, but nothing came out. She had expected me to understand immediately, to support her without question. Instead, she was staring at a man who felt utterly betrayed. "I thought you'd be proud of me," she finally muttered, looking down at her hands. "I thought you'd see how selfless this is." "Selfless?" I repeated, almost laughing at the word. "Claire, giving up 9 months of your body, your health, and our peace of mind, without even asking me, isn't selfless. It's reckless. And it feels like you're putting your sister's needs above our marriage." She flinched at my words, but I pressed on. "We've talked about starting a family of our own. How can you just hand that possibility away to someone else, as if I don't exist?" Her voice cracked. "It's my sister, Daniel. She's heartbroken. She needs me." "And what about me?" I asked sharply. The silence that followed was louder than any argument we'd ever had. In that moment, I saw the first spark of regret in her eyes. She realized this wasn't just about her sister anymore, it was about the future of our marriage. That night, I barely slept. I kept staring at the ceiling, replaying her words in my head. She needs me, but what about us? What about the life we had promised each other? By morning, I made a decision. I wasn't going to let this slide into some quiet sacrifice that would leave me bitter for the rest of my life. I needed Claire to face what this choice really meant. Over breakfast, I spoke calmly but firmly. "Claire, if you go through with this, you're not just helping your sister, you're breaking our marriage. Because this isn't just your body anymore. It's our life, our family, our future." She looked pale, her spoon frozen above the bowl. "Are you saying you'll leave me?" "I'm saying," I replied, "that if you choose your sister over me in this, then you've already left." Her eyes welled up. I could see the conflict tearing at her, love for her sister, but fear of losing me. For the first time, she seemed to understand just how high the stakes were. But instead of backing down, she whispered, I don't know if I can tell her no." That's when I knew, if she couldn't see the damage she was about to cause, I'd have to show her. I decided to take a different approach. If Claire couldn't see what this would do to us, then I'd make her feel it. That evening, I came home with a folder of papers. Inside were articles, medical reports, and testimonies from women who had struggled after being surrogates. Some lost their health, some their marriages, and some admitted they never felt like themselves again. When I placed the folder in front of her, she frowned. "What's this?" "Reality," I said coldly. "You think this is just about helping your sister, but have you thought about what happens when her child is in your arms? When you feel it kick, when you go through the pain of birth? You think you'll just hand it over and move on?" Her hands shook as she flipped through the pages. One story described a marriage collapsing after the husband felt ignored during the pregnancy. Another spoke of a surrogate who had nightmares for years afterward. Claire's eyes grew glassy. I didn't know it could be like this. That's because you didn't want to know, I said, leaning forward. You were ready to gamble with our life for your sister's pain. And I won't stand by and let you destroy us. For the first time, she set the folder aside and whispered, Daniel, maybe I made a mistake. It was the first crack in her resolve, and I intended to push further. A few days later, the storm I had been dreading finally hit. Claire's sister, Emily, showed up at our door, eyes red from crying. Claire must have told her that I wasn't on board. The moment she stepped inside, Emily's voice shook with anger. Daniel, how could you? How could you stand in the way of me becoming a mother? I stayed calm, though my chest burned. Emily, I'm not standing in your way. But you're asking my wife to sacrifice our marriage, our future children, and her health, for you. That's not fair. Emily's eyes filled with tears. You don't understand what it's like to be told you'll never have kids. Claire is my only hope. You're being selfish. I leaned forward, my tone sharp but steady. No, Emily. What's selfish is expecting a married woman to risk her body and her marriage without her husband's agreement. If Claire goes through with this, it won't just cost her, it'll cost both of us everything we've built. Claire sat silently between us, torn apart. I could see the guilt eating at her, the pressure crushing her from both sides. Finally, I looked at her and said, Claire, this is the moment you choose. Are you my wife, or are you just your sister's solution? The room went still. Emily glared at me, Claire trembled, and I knew the next words out of her mouth would change everything. Claire's hands gripped the edge of the couch so tightly her knuckles turned white. Her eyes darted between me and Emily like a trapped bird searching for a way out. Daniel, she whispered, her voice trembling. Emily is my sister. She's my blood. I can't just abandon her. My chest tightened, but I forced myself to stay calm. And what about me, Claire? I'm your husband. I vowed to stand by you, and you vowed the same to me. Are you ready to throw that away? Emily leaned in, her voice sharp. Don't make her choose between us. That's cruel. I turned to Emily. No, what's cruel is putting her in this position in the first place. You're asking her to carry a burden that could break her marriage apart. And if you cared about her happiness, you wouldn't. For a long, heavy moment, no one spoke. Then Claire finally broke. Tears spilled down her face as she whispered, I can't do this, not like this. Daniel's right. If I carry your child, it could destroy everything we have. Emily gasped as if Claire had slapped her. So you're choosing him over me? Claire sobbed, covering her face. I'm choosing my marriage. I'm sorry, Emily. I thought I could fix your pain, but I can't sacrifice my life to do it. Emily's face hardened, and without another word, she stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind her. The silence that followed was suffocating. Claire sat there, broken, realizing she had just lost something precious. But I also saw something else in her eyes, understanding. For the first time, she saw what I had been trying to show her all along. The next morning, the phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Emily had sent Claire dozens of messages, long, emotional paragraphs filled with guilt, anger, and accusations. You've ruined my only chance at happiness. A real sister wouldn't abandon me. One day, you'll regret choosing him over family. Claire sat at the kitchen table, staring at her phone with red, swollen eyes. Her hands trembled as she scrolled through the words. She hates me, Claire whispered. She'll never forgive me. I reached for her hand. She's angry now, but that doesn't mean she's right. You didn't ruin her life, Claire. You just refused to ruin ours. But Emily wasn't letting go. That afternoon, she showed up at Claire's workplace. She caused a scene, crying loudly in front of Claire's co-workers, claiming I had brainwashed her sister into choosing me over family. By the time Claire got home, she was shaking with shame. "She's turning everyone against me," she said through tears. "Even Mom called me, saying I was cruel." That's when I realized Emily wasn't just hurt, she was determined to punish us. And if I didn't step in soon, Claire would crack under the weight of guilt. I looked at my wife, gently but firmly. "If Emily keeps attacking like this, then it's time we stop staying quiet. It's time the truth comes out, every ugly part of it." Claire blinked at me, startled. "What do you mean?" I leaned closer. "I mean, if she wants a war, I'll make sure everyone sees the whole story." I wasn't bluffing. If Emily wanted to paint me as the villain, then it was time to shine a light on the truth. That evening, I gathered Claire and sat her down with her phone. "Every message she's sent, every threat, every guilt trip, save it. If she wants to drag this fight into the open, then we'll have proof of what she's been doing." Claire hesitated, wiping her eyes. "But she's my sister. I don't want to destroy her." I shook my head. "We're not destroying her, Claire. She's destroying herself. We're just showing the truth. If she's willing to lie about us, then people deserve to know what she's really doing." The very next day, Emily posted a long, emotional rant on social media about how her own sister betrayed her, and how I manipulated Claire into abandoning her family. She painted herself as the victim, and comments flooded in with sympathy. But what Emily didn't expect was the response. Claire, hands trembling, posted screenshots of Emily's private messages, the emotional blackmail, the manipulations, the threats. She didn't add commentary, just let the words speak for themselves. The tide shifted almost instantly. Where people had once comforted Emily, now they were questioning her. This isn't fair to your sister. She has her own marriage to think about. Guilt-tripping family isn't love. That night, Emily called Claire in a rage, her voice trembling with fury. "How dare you embarrass me like that?" Claire, for the first time in weeks, stood tall. "How dare you try to ruin my marriage?" For once, Emily had no comeback. I thought Emily might finally back down after being exposed, but I underestimated her stubbornness. When shame didn't work, she switched tactics, pulling in the rest of the family. Within days, Claire's phone was filled with calls from relatives. Her mother accused her of choosing a man over blood. An aunt told her she was selfish for not sacrificing herself for Emily's dream. Even cousins she barely spoke to sent messages, saying, "You'll regret this when Emily cuts you out of her life forever." It was a coordinated storm, and it was breaking Claire down. I found her crying in the bedroom, clutching her phone. "They all hate me, Daniel. They think I'm cruel." I sat beside her and lifted her chin. "Claire, listen to me. Family isn't supposed to demand you destroy your own happiness for theirs. If they can't see that, then maybe the problem isn't you, it's them." But Emily wasn't done. She invited the whole family to a dinner under the pretense of talking things through. Claire begged me not to go, afraid it would turn into an ambush. But I knew we had to face it head-on. When we walked into that dinner, the tension was suffocating. Emily sat at the head of the table, her eyes sharp and full of fire. The rest of the family looked at us with a mixture of judgment and disappointment. Emily smiled coldly. "So, Claire. Are you ready to admit in front of everyone that you abandoned your sister when she needed you most?" The room went dead silent. All eyes were on Claire. I reached under the table, squeezed her hand, and whispered, "Don't let her control the story. You tell them the truth." Claire took a shaky breath, and I knew, this was the breaking point. Claire's hand trembled in mine, but she didn't let go. Slowly, she lifted her head and looked around the table. Her voice cracked at first, but grew steadier with each word. "You all think I'm cruel," she said, her eyes glistening. "You think I abandoned Emily. But none of you saw what I saw. None of you read the messages she sent me, calling me heartless, blaming me, threatening to turn everyone against me if I said no." A ripple of murmurs moved around the table. Emily's smile faltered, just slightly. Claire pressed on. "I love my sister. I wanted to help her. But I also love my husband. I can't destroy my marriage just to fix someone else's pain. That doesn't make me selfish, that makes me human." Emily's face flushed red. "Don't twist this. You promised." "No," Claire cut her off, her voice rising for the first time. "I never promised. You assumed I would give up my body, my life, my marriage. You never even asked what it would do to me. That's not love, Emily. That's manipulation." The room went silent. Relatives shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. A few of them lowered their eyes, clearly rethinking their judgments. Emily slammed her fist on the table, furious. "So that's it? You're choosing him over me? Over your own sister?" Claire's voice was calm now, almost cold. "I'm choosing myself. And if you can't respect that, then maybe you were never really my sister to begin with." Emily froze, her mouth opening but no words coming out. For the first time, she was the one left speechless. The silence in the room stretched, heavy and uncomfortable. Then Claire's uncle cleared his throat. "She's right, Emily. You've gone too far." Emily whipped her head toward him. "Excuse me." But before she could continue, Claire's aunt spoke up. "I saw those screenshots online. You didn't ask for help, you demanded it. You tried to guilt her into something no sister should force." One by one, murmurs spread around the table. Some relatives nodded slowly, while others shifted awkwardly, realizing they had been manipulated into taking sides. Emily's face turned pale. "You're all turning against me now? After everything I've been through?" Her mother spoke softly, but firmly. "Emily, we love you. But love doesn't mean pushing your pain onto others. Claire is right, you crossed a line." Claire sat there stunned, tears in her eyes, as the weight of the room shifted. For weeks she had been drowning under guilt, but now, for the first time, her family was starting to see the truth. I squeezed her hand, proud beyond words. This wasn't just about winning an argument, it was about her finally standing up for herself. Emily, realizing her grip was slipping, pushed back from the table. Her voice trembled with rage. "Fine. If none of you will stand with me, then I don't need any of you." She grabbed her purse and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The table remained quiet, but the air felt different now. The pressure was gone. The power Emily had held over everyone, especially Claire, was broken. For the first time in months, Claire exhaled deeply and whispered, "I feel free." That night, after the storm at dinner, the house finally felt quiet again. Claire sat beside me on the couch, her head resting on my shoulder. For the first time in weeks, she wasn't crying. She was breathing, steady, calm, almost relieved. "I thought I'd lost everything," she whispered. "My sister, my family, maybe even you." I wrapped my arm around her. "You never lost me, Claire. But I needed you to see that our marriage comes first. That we can't let anyone, family or not, tear it apart." She nodded slowly, her eyes searching mine. "I see that now. I hate that it took things getting so ugly for me to realize it." I kissed the top of her head. "Sometimes people only learn the hard way. What matters is that you did." The following weeks were like a breath of fresh air. Without Emily's constant pressure, our home became peaceful again. Claire and I started talking more about our future, about kids, about what we wanted as a family. For the first time, those conversations felt real, not overshadowed by someone else's demands. One evening, Claire took my hand and said something I'll never forget. "Daniel, thank you for fighting for us when I couldn't." I smiled. That's what marriage is. We fight for each other. Even when it's hard. In her eyes, I saw something I hadn't seen in months: certainty. She had chosen me, chosen us, and she wasn't looking back. Just when life felt steady again, the phone buzzed with an unexpected message. It was from Emily. Claire, I need to talk. Please don't ignore me. Claire froze, staring at the screen. For weeks, Emily had been silent after storming out of the family dinner. Now,